beginning. Welcome, friends and family, to this beautiful surrounding and a challenging day. While there may be a little more space between 6 with Dana and Carrie. Adjusting to their new home was made a little bit easier by their friendship with the neighbors, Shelley and Brian Opitz. Holidays together, and over the years have been fortunate enough to watch each other's families grow and shift. Around Christmas and Thanksgiving holidays, Pat loved to make cookies, pie, and her childhood Yorkshire pudding. As Dana and Carrie grew and became involved in travel volleyball for Dana and travel softball for Carrie, Pat was always there to drive them to games, cart them around to different cities, and watch her girls do what they loved. Through softball especially, a network of friends developed among the moms who shared these games and events together. This is just one of the many ways that Pat always showed up for her daughters. Dana and Carrie were telling me that as a mother, Pat was open, a great listener, and generous with her love. When Carrie began the process of deepening her spiritual life, even though Pat was not religious, she always listened to Carrie. She purchased her first Bible for her, and as Carrie became a young life leader, Pat would get all of these recordings of her talks and listen to each one of them. It was things like this that showed the way she paid attention to who Dana and Carrie were as people, as well as daughters. When Dana had tough weeks and was working a lot, Pat would be sure to come by and drop off dinner. Pat made a tradition of buying Carrie flowers. She loved to give plants to her daughters as well. And what she may have lacked in a green thumb, she certainly made up for in green enthusiasm. Nature, wildlife, hiking, all brought Pat joy. There were times where she became especially interested in hiking around North Carolina or applying her photography to photographing wildlife. While hiking was great, Pat really loved the beach. Whether it was a vacation with the girls or sitting on her own, since childhood she loved visiting and enjoying beaches wherever she was along the East Coast, be it Florida, Fire Island, or any of North Carolina's beaches. Pat had a full life as a friend and a mother. She loved her job as a bookkeeper. Not necessarily because she loved to work, but because she had a good place with the people she cared about. It seems Pat knew how to make the most of her life in many ways. She was curious, would pick up hobbies to try new things. In the last few years, she even decided to get a tattoo. Dana and Pat did it together and have matching tattoos of a simple, beautiful Celtic symbol, which means mother and daughter. Antiques and going thrifting was a favorite pastime of Pat's. For her birthday this year, Carrie and her mom spent all day going to different thrift shops. When she wasn't out working, thrifting, hiking, enjoying Taco Tuesday with Jay and the girls, delivering things to Dana and Carrie's apartments, or at Pat loved her 2 dogs, Tucker and Marley, and as well as her 3 cats, Jack, Sunny, and Taz. Not only was Pat generous, we honor all of the aspects of this human being who made a mark on our lives, who did the best she could to build a beautiful and a full life not only for herself but for those around her. There is no doubt that Pat will be greatly missed. There is also no doubt that she is still a part of every life she touched. At this time, I'd like to read a letter that Dana and Carrie have written to their mom. Mom, thank you for always putting us first. You showed us what it means to be selfless and love unconditionally. You were always honest with us, both when giving us advice and discipline, but most of all, we're thankful that we were given a mom and a best friend wrapped in one. You spent so many years driving us to and from practices, games, sleepovers, and never complained once. You also never missed a single softball, volleyball, or basketball game, which we'll always be grateful for. We know that middle school girls basketball is not the most entertaining, but you were always happy to be there cheering us on. Something you loved to do was to visit state parks, historical sites, and museums. Although we might have hated it at the time, we were thankful for it now. 10 years ago, we did not appreciate walking around Civil War battlefields looking for bullets. But now those are memories that we will cherish forever. You loved being outdoors, exploring new trails, and spending time in nature. While elementary school us probably complained the whole way through a 2-mile hike, we have now come to appreciate the time spent in nature because of you. While we had no idea what a green burial was last week, it only seems fitting that this is what you wanted. You loved this cemetery because of its history, and we have chosen this perfect place for you to see the sunrise each day. We know there are signs that say, "No dogs allowed," but maybe one day we can sneak them in to say hi. We know you never got to say goodbye to your pets, but we have promised that we will not get rid of them no matter what Dad says. You had more pets in your lifetime than anyone we know, and you clearly passed that trait on to us. Something you always wanted was for us to be not only sisters, but good friends. While this has been a work in progress for 21 years, these circumstances have allowed us to be there for one another more than ever. Unfortunately, you will still hear us bicker from time to time, though we promise at the end of the day, we really do love each other unconditionally, as you taught us to do. While we never imagined having to say goodbye so soon, we are so thankful for the last few days we got to spend with you. You taught us what it looks like to make the best of a terrible situation, despite how bad you felt. When doctors told you that you only had a few days, instead of being sad, you embraced the time you had left and wanted to make the most of it. We promise to honor you in the way that we live and love others, even if the CDC says we have to be quarantined. A few days ago, you promised us that you'd be sure to visit us and send us signs. While we don't know what those are yet, we are hopeful and looking forward to reminders that you're still here with us. We don't think it's a coincidence that it's a perfect day outside, as we get to celebrate your life. Thanks again for raising us to be independent and hardworking, and teaching us to make the most of every situation. We love you to the moon and back. Love, Dana and Carrie. Thank you for sharing that with us. Our hearts are with all of you. As Dana and Carrie mentioned, in her last few days, Pat said that she was going to find signs and ways to let them know she was still here. Even at such a time, she was finding ways to experience something new and to care for her girls. Let us remember in our times of grief and our feelings of separation that we are those signs for each other. The legacy of Pat's presence in your life is a deep connection which is beyond time, beyond distance, and beyond our understanding. I'm now grateful to read a poem selected for today by Pat's friends, Julie Collins and Debbie Holst. It's called Instructions. When I have moved beyond you in the adventures of life, gather in some pleasant place, and there remember me. With spoken words, old and new, let a tear, if you will, let a smile come quickly, for I have loved the laughter of life. Do not linger too long with your solemnities. Go, eat, and talk when you can. Follow a woodland trail, climb a high mountain, walk along the wild seashore. Chew the thoughts of some book which challenges your soul. Use your hands some bright day to make a thing of beauty, or to lift someone's heavy load. Though you mention not my name, though no thought of me crosses your mind, I shall be with you, for these have been the realities of my life for me. And when you face some crisis with anguish, when you walk alone with courage, when you choose your path of right, I shall be very close to you. I have followed the valleys. I have climbed the heights of life. Pat, you have moved beyond us in this adventurous life, and we know that you have climbed its heights because your great love is present with us today. Over the days and years to come, things will come up that you may want to share with Pat, with your mom. I hope that you will find ways to always do that, either by speaking them out loud, spending time with animals, maybe simply lighting a candle. I hope that you will always share stories, events, smiles with her, and with each other inspired by her. Above all, let your love continue to grow. Know that even now, she is very close to you. As we begin a new journey with Pat's physical presence gone from us, I hope you will find comfort in familiar words, in new experiences, and openness to what life has to teach us, as well as what we can learn from one another. At this time, I'd like to share Psalm 23, which Carrie read to her mom at the hospital. While it is known to many, may we hear it with fresh ears, finding peace in our own understanding of the divine presence which connects us all and offers us comfort through signs and gifts we've been given through each other. The Lord is my shepherd. He gives me everything I need. He lets me lie down in fields of green grass. He leads me beside quiet waters. He gives me new strength. He guides me in the right paths for the honor of his name. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid. You are with me. Your shepherd's rod and staff comfort me. You prepare a feast for me right in front of my enemies. You pour oil on my head. My cup runs over. I am sure that your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. May goodness and love be with you all of the days of your lives. As Patricia Brush rests the body of our understanding in this green field, we begin to commit her memory to live in our hearts forever. Let us now take a few moments in silence to hold Pat in our hearts, to reflect on who she was to us personally. This is also a time to pray if that is how you would like to honor her. With joy and sorrow being two sides of a big love, we welcome and hope to find a place of peace at that gentle point where the two meet in us. May we also find peace in the way that not only Pat, but we are also connected to the nature present in this place. Moving together through all seasons, together in sacred harmony. From here, we lovingly acknowledge that Pat's days are complete upon this earth, and that her mark on our hearts does not expire. These coming months will bring challenges for Pat's family and for all those fortunate enough to be touched by her kindness. As this journey unfolds, I encourage you to share with each other. Give time, send a text or flowers, and have conversations when you can. Know that the best way to honor a feeling of absence could be by being that presence of love for each other. As Walt Whitman once wrote, happiness is not in another place, but this place. Not for another hour, but for this hour. I bring up Whitman because he was somehow connected to Pat's family tree, which she enjoyed discovering. And this quote reminds us that while happiness may feel a foreign concept at times, it is only in the gift of this present moment, of this hour, that we can access the joy of life available to us. Let your grief and your sadness be real to you. Always a reminder that it is the result of a cherished love. which is alive in you and in every creation. I hope that in these days ahead you will lean on Pat's strength as she sends you signs of her love, those left in our memories and those shared in her enduring presence. Go in peace. Thank you for celebrating with us. Before we conclude our service, we'll be gathering the sticks. If you have any that you would like to share, please feel free to allow them to be laid next to the shroud. You're welcome to come, say goodbye, share memories and moments, but please leave the family a few minutes at first before we begin a procession. Oh, thank you. There are also flowers which are laid right over there. You're welcome to pick those up and to use them to adorn Pat. This concludes our service.
No need to single file. You're welcome to just come up as you like. There's room for everyone.